Morning, everybody. I know every time I say I like it, I'm probably not going to buy any more watches. I find another bargain on something. So I probably won't be buying any expensive watches for a while, but I think I'm going to add one or two more to the inexpensive collection. And this is definitely on the inexpensive side. By the way, hit like, hit subscribe, make some comments. This one should be, I think, a really good one. Got high hopes for it. It seems to get great reviews. We'll see how I like it. This is going to be a Casio. This one's going to come in at 49 bucks. So this is something anybody can afford. And honestly, even if you have more expensive watches and have more expensive tastes, you should probably have one of these in your collection. Here's the model number. Let's get into the actual item itself. So I like dive watches. For me, they seem functional. I like the water resistance. I ride motorcycles. I get caught out in the rain. I have a pool. A lot of times I'll be outside in the summertime and I just, dive into the pool or whatever. So I need a watch that can, stand up to that basic stuff and the vibrations from the bike and getting caught in the rain and swimming and all that stuff. But it's also got to be clearly legible and, having a chronograph is nice, but not always necessary. And so, I've got a few dive style watches here. So, I've got my G-Shocks, my Tissot and stuff like that, but I've also got a new Citizen Pro Diver, which is a really nice $400-something chronograph with 200-meter water resistance. I've got a couple of the Invictas here. This one looks like a diver style, but the water resistance is only 100. So you could probably take a light dip in the pool and you can certainly shower with it, but I wouldn't feel comfortable, going swimming for any length of time or snorkeling or anything more than, just a little bit of recreational water. But these ones right here, these do actually, these are pretty good, inexpensive divers. But I am thinking that this one, is going to prove to be even better at the same price point. Actually, a couple bucks cheaper than those. So let's see what we've got. I've got these Invicta Pro Divers. Actually are really good watches for the money. For 55 bucks, you get a nice metal band. That one I did bugger up the band trying to adjust it. The pins were really tight and I ended up breaking something, so I just threw a rubber band on it. That I'll probably just give away to somebody because I just was like, screw it. For 55 bucks, I'll just go buy a new one and buy a better tool, and I was able to get it adjusted properly, so I don't really need this one. And so here's what we've got. This, I believe, is a 44 millimeter. It's called the Duo. The model number is back there. If you go back to the beginning of the video, you'll see the box. Very basic packaging, like just retail like you'd see at Target. This is not an expensive watch. However, I have read that it's actually a very good watch. So let's take it out and see what we like and don't like about it. So this is part of their water series that actually have, they got the decal of the Marlin there on the dial. And I don't know if you're picking it up, but there's like a good sunburst effect here with that dial. It's black, and then it kind of fades into blue here, just to give it, a little bit of color, but not a whole lot. It does have a screw-down crown, which you want with your 200-meter water resistance. So this is something, I wouldn't go deep sea diving with it, but, if you're going to go swimming, dive into the pool, even do a little bit of light snorkel or snuba, or even scuba diving down to a certain depth, you should be fine with this. It does have a rotating bezel, so you can go ahead and really nice, strong clicks. You hear that? It only goes in one direction. It doesn't rotate back very far, so you can get that lined up, and there you go. Simple date, that's it. No chronograph, nothing like that. You just have a second hand moving around. It's very clean. Uses a band very similar. It's not exactly the same, but it's very similar to what the G-Shocks come with. It's comfortable enough, but it's a standard 22 mil lug, so you can go ahead and put, whatever you want on there. No shortage of 22 mil bands. Does fit nice and comfortably. There it is on my wrist. Sorry, every morning my allergies kick up and I'm coughing up a lung. Might be the lingering effects of almost getting COVID. I think I had it, I just didn't have it enough to pop the test, but my wife and my mother-in-law did and had it for 3 solid weeks. They were testing positive, even after Paxlovid and ivermectin and everything. So This is the Duo. Comes in a bunch of different colors. They're all between, right now, $49 to $55. It's also a watch that's somewhat famous. Bill Gates has been seen wearing this watch on several occasions in public. Think what you want about him, but the guy could literally afford to buy anything. He could buy any watch company, let alone any watch. If he wanted to buy Rolex or buy Omega or buy Breitling or something like that, he could just buy the company. But he wears a $50 Casio. It's really nice stainless steel. You've got that screw-down bezel. It's big enough, but it's not massive on your wrist. It's not anywhere near as big as a G-Shock. For a diver's watch with 200-meter water resistance, it's actually fairly thin. It's very nicely polished. It's nicely done. No real flaws in it. I think it's a good-looking watch. It's very comfortable. It's got a nice curve to it. Sometimes they curve too much, and then those points dig into your wrist, depending on the size of your wrist. Sometimes they're too flat, and they're not curved enough, which then has the strap not really forming. It has to make like a hard right angle. It doesn't fit right. This fits my wrists like perfectly. It's perfectly contoured to someone with my size wrists. I wish I had a tape measure here to see exactly what my wrist circumference is. But that is just a beautiful feeling, beautiful fitting watch. And it looks really good. Now, I think it looks a little bit better than the Invicta. The hands are bigger. It's easier to read. Let's see, let's just take this thing off. This one has the date also, but it's got that magnifying glass, which some people like because it looks more like the Submariner. And both of these, obviously, I mean, this is a Casio. It's not a knockoff, but you can see how many watches kind of look like a Submariner. This is one of them. And maybe that's just because the Submariner is kind of the quintessential dive watch. And that's what dive watches kind of look like. It's like Pepsi and Coke and RC, all these different colas, but they're all colas. Somebody originally started it, so you can say, well, they're all copying them. But yeah, because they're all colas. They're going to taste sort of similar, These are dive watches. They're going to have a sort of similar look and feel because they're built for a purpose. There's a certain style that goes with that. I actually think this looks cleaner. I mean, this looks a little fancier, but it starts with all the gold and the blue. It starts to border a little bit on maybe too flashy or gaudy. I mean, it doesn't look bad on the wrist. I'm not going to say anything bad about this particular Invicta. This Invicta is actually really nice, but that one's almost small enough to be like a woman's watch. This one is, I think, a 40 mil, and this is the 44. Maybe this is 39. It's big enough that it just seems a little bit more proportional to my wrists. It's barely any thicker, and it's the same price. And it's a Casio. Here's the thing. Casio at least is a quality brand. They sell $18 digital watches. They sell watches up to $6,000, $7,000 in some of the upper end G-Shocks and some of their other collector lines. So Casio it's a good Japanese watch company. Invicta uses Japanese movements and stuff, and these are great for the money. But I think there's probably more, whether it's deserved or not, there's more in the watch community about Invicta because a lot of the Invictas are just crazy and stupid looking. They're very I don't know what the word to use is. They're just kind of too flashy to the point of looking stupid. But I would say that's a good clean lines. It's very visible. The luminescence here, I don't know how long it'll last because we haven't had time to play with it. Probably doesn't last terribly long. They never seem to. But yeah, that's that. So, how does it compare to something, more snazzy like the Citizen Pro? Well, not well at all. I mean, I could buy 8 of these for what I paid for one of those. This is bigger. It's thicker. It's got the same water rating, though. But looks-wise, this has more going on because it's got different complications, and it's a chronograph, which has also screw-down crowns on all of them. I was like, what is this for? Why does it have it on these? Well, because they want to retain that water rating, and this is meant to be used in deep water, or deep-ish, and so they don't want you pushing the buttons. So on the chronograph, a lot of them are like, well, don't push the buttons underwater. Well, this one, you can't. Doesn't work. You have to loosen the crown on both of them so that you may start the stopwatch. Now the stopwatch is going. So then you can stop it, and then you can reset it. And I love that nice sweep. Of course, I kill the battery every time I do that, but, well, not kill it, but I will wear it out faster doing that. But anyway, so, yeah, if you want like the expensive one, there's Citizen, there's Seiko, there's no shortage of quality dive watches, Tissot, Bulova, there's a gazillion of them out there. This is more of my like really nice, if I'm going to work or I want, go out to a nice dinner, I want something a bit flashier. I want something a bit nicer, but I don't want to bang it up with daily use and stuff because this is a really good, not cheap watch. I also love that one because it's got the solar powered. I never have to worry about batteries. This one I'll probably have to replace the batteries every 2 or 3 years. But that's okay. I got the tools to do that, and it's not that big of a deal. I will say the only downside to having all these mechanical watches instead of the G-Shocks is every month now I've got a whole box of watches I have to go around and set the date on. So it takes me like 10 minutes to go and reset the date on all of my mechanical watches. Hadn't thought of that when I first got it. But it's a beautiful watch. And that's the one if I'm not wearing the G-Shocks are ultimately the much more shock resistant and really beat the hell out of them. But if I want to kind of go in the middle where, I want something a little nicer, a little more thin, a little more classy with the analog dial and the classic lines, but I don't want to wear my $400 watch, or I don't want to wear, my Bulova, although that is an amazing watch with that smooth. Go watch the video on this guy. $218. Look at that second hand. Look how smooth that thing is. That is awesome. That's a really nice movement they put in that. And I got my big Tissot and I got my nicer G-Shocks and stuff, but that's the Casio. So for $50 for a name brand, has a warranty, if you break it in 10 years, although I don't see why you would. It's a very simple, very well-constructed watch. There's no reason why you should break it. I believe it is mineral glass. It's not going to be sapphire at that price point. But so what? You got a billionaire wearing these damn things. And I see a lot of people wearing them. It's a really, really nice, classy, no frills, but looks the part watch. Yeah, if you were walking around with that, wearing that, no one would think anything of it. Like, oh, that's a crappy watch. You go, oh, looks nice. Looks like a nice little diver's watch. They might see the name Casio and be like, oh. But Casio, like I said, makes good watches. So, yeah, I'll give this one to somebody. I'm going to take this one out because there's a Timex Expedition Scout that will be arriving mañana. And that one's going to go there. This one lives there. And now I can't buy any more watches because I don't have any more room. I told myself, okay, I'll stop when this box is full. And I know you're saying, well, I've already exceeded that because I'm having to take one out. Yeah, but that's because I had 2 of these ones. So instead of trying to buy a new band for it, I was like, well, I'll just buy another watch and keep that other one as a spare movement in case I ever broke the glass or something. I could just throw this one on that band. But honestly, I've got so many watches now, I just don't need it. So I'm going to give that to, I don't know, we'll see, one of my friends. It's not a bad little watch. And they can put different bands on it. Even on this one, I mean, I've got some different bands here. I actually kind of like this one, but I've got another set of bands from Ritchie or something like that that are quick disconnect. The problem is they don't come out and then, so they're not quite as wide, but they're kind of like a two-tone. You can get them different colors. Yeah, rich, something like that. Anyway, that's enough babbling for now. It's a $50 watch. I would give this an absolute must-buy. If you're collecting watches and you want something that, you just want the $50 beater watch, I would choose it over the Invicta. The Invicta looks a little fancier, might be more likely from across the room to fool someone into thinking that you have a Rolex who doesn't know much maybe about watches. But honestly, putting these two side by side, even though this is a little less flashy, I think this is the better looking watch. I still like my Invicta. I'm keeping this one. But I think that's the better looking watch. It's $49.95. How can you possibly go wrong? It's a Casio. It'll run forever. So anyway, folks, hit like, subscribe, give me your thoughts. That's probably going to be it for watch reviews for a while. I just don't have really, other than the Timex that's already on order, I don't really have anything else I'm I'm looking for. I mean, maybe over time, if I swap out some of these cheaper ones that I've been wearing and testing, I'm probably going to give this away to somebody at some point. It's just way too big for my wrists. It's a beautiful watch. It's really nice. It's only got 100-meter water resistance, but it is a really nice, big, chunky chronograph, but I'm just probably not going to wear it much. All right. Well, that's all I got for today. I know I'm kind of low-key, but my allergies are kicking up. Got to drink my coffee, figure out what I'm going to do today, so we'll see you cats later.